Kuf Yud 110a. Let's start four lines from the top. Taner Rabbanan. This is a famous Gemara. It's called Zugis. Zugis means pairs, but it actually means even numbers. Any even number was considered dangerous. It was dangerous. It was harmful for demons and also for witchcraft. I don't know what the difference is. Okay. So Taner Rabbanan says like this: Sheisik flying. Someone drinks 2 cups. That means he drank a pair. 2 cups. He had 1 cup and he drank another cup. So Dama Bereisha, he's responsible for his own death. Blood in his head. That's he was responsible. It was his own doing. He shouldn't have drank 2 cups. Amar Rabbi Yehuda says, Amosai, when do we say this? That's if he didn't go out into the marketplace in the middle. Otherwise, if he goes out and he comes back, so it's a new cup. It's not a continuation of the old one. It doesn't match. It doesn't combine. Yeah, there's no problem if he went to the marketplace in between the 2 cups. Amar Rabashi, Chazina le Rav Chananya bar Bivi. For every cup, he would go outside and take a look at the marketplace and then go back and have another cup. So that would separate between the cups and wouldn't combine to become an even number. When do we say that there's an issue of zugais? That's elatzis ladera. That's only if he's about to do something that could be a little dangerous. He's about to go on a trip. So then you have to be careful with zugais. We said before he goes to the market, that's not the elatzis ladera. That's not a trip. That's just to walk outside to the courtyard or whatever, or to the mavoi or something like that. They go on a trip. That's something dangerous. But if he's going to stay at home, like, that's not a problem. There's no problem with drinking cups of wine, even numbers of wine, and then you're going to stay home. It's not a dangerous activity. Amar Rab Zeira of Alishin Klatzis L'Derech Dami. Rab Zeira says that when you're going to sleep, that is like you're going on a trip, and that's a dangerous activity, and you have to be careful not to drink even number before that. Amar Rav Papa B'Latzis L'Beisakisi Klatzis L'Derech Dami. Rav Papa says going to the bathroom is dangerous, and that's like you're going on a trip. You have to be careful before a person uses the bathroom not to have an even number of cups. The Gemara says of a Beisei Lai, is there a problem? Is there no problem in the house? Well, Rabba Manik Shuri, Rabba, when he would drink cups of wine, he would count the beams of the house to he would use the beams as a counter of how many cups he's up to. He was staying home. So you see that staying home is still a problem with zugis. You would go up to this row or to that row or that row. So Abaye, if he would drink 1 cup, so his mother, which is not really his mother, the wet nurse or whatever, the lady that raised him, would bring him 2 cups, which would make an odd number. So he drank 1 and she would bring him 2 cups. He wasn't going out. You see, even in the house, there's a concern not to have an even number. If Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak drank 2 cups, his servant would bring him 1 cup. Chad kasa, if he drank 1 cup, then he would bring him 2 cups, and always to get an odd number. The Gemara says, this is an easy answer. We say that Adam Chashav, an important person, it's different. The demons like to attack important people, and so you have to be more careful. Usually, staying home is not a problem, but for an important person, it is a problem. Okay. Amar Ula says, Asara kaisis ein behem mishum zugais. You see, we're talking about even numbers is a problem, but once you reach 10, it's not a problem. 10 cups, it's already The problem is only lower than 10. Ula l'tamei. Ula follows his reason. The Amar Ula says, some say it's a brisa, that they instituted 10 cups of wine in the house of a mourner. I forget where this Gemara is, Ksubas. I think it says they wanted to institute more or something, because the person is suffering. He's in mourning. He's distressed, distraught over his loss. So they instituted they should have 10 cups of wine. Now, 10 cups is an even number, right? So that should be a problem. If you say that 10 is a problem of an even number, how could they institute it? It could be something dangerous. It was like a question yesterday. How could the rabbis institute the 4 cups of wine? We had to come up with different answers. How could they institute 10 cups for the mourner? So it must be that once you reach 10, it's not a problem. Yeah. I guess the main point is that before you get to 10, you had some even numbers there. But before you get to 10, just don't leave the house. That's the main point. Stay safe until you reach 10. Once you reach 10, there's no problem. You can go drive your car. Okay. Aval Tamnaya, but if it's 8, Yesh Mishim Zugis, that's a problem. Rav Chisda v'Rabba bar Rav Huna Dar Mitavayu, Shalom l'Teva Mitzaref l'Rolei Mitzaref. A very interesting Gemara. It says that there's 3 verses in Birkas Kayanim. And the number of words in the first verse are 3, the number in the second one is 5, and the number in the third one is 7. 3, 5, 7. So the third verse, which starts with Yisa Hashem Panav Elecha V'Yasem Lecha Shalom. So Shalom is the 7th word. So what it's saying over here is that Rav Chisda and Rabba bar Rav Huna say that the 7th word, Shalom, doesn't combine for bad. It only combines for good. In other words, if you had 6 cups and you have a 7th one, so then you have an odd number. But once you have 7 cups and then you have an 8th one, so you drop the 7th. The 7th doesn't combine. So now the 8th becomes the 7th, and that's an odd number. You don't count that. It doesn't combine to the combination. Shalom has its own, like we said, Birkas Hamazon before, is Mitzaref l'Teva. That was our answer by the 4 cups, one of the answers. Rabba's answer. Rabba answered yesterday that how are you allowed to have 4 cups, or why did not, how are you allowed? How did the sages institute something that could be dangerous? They said that Birkas Hamazon doesn't combine. That has its own category. So here we're saying that Shalom, which is the 7th, corresponds to the 7th. Yeah, I don't know, like, is he saying these words? No, he's not saying these words. It's just the cup corresponds to the word Shalom, and the 7th one doesn't combine for bad. It doesn't combine for bad. It doesn't combine to make an even number. It only combines to make an odd number. Aval Shita, but 6. Yesh Mishim Zugis. 6 is before 7. So 6 is an even number, and you don't have that 7 heter, that way out. However, they say that Yar Hashem Panav Elecha V'Choneka, Yar Hashem Panav Elecha V'Choneka, that 5th word only combines to help. It doesn't combine to the detriment. So it won't make a 6th cup. It will only make a 4th cup odd. So 6 is also okay. There's no zugis by 6, according to Rabba and Rabbi Yosef. So Rashbam asks a very interesting question. Very good question. Rashbam asks. So that's the case. That there's no zugis. No, let's do another. His question is on the next one. Aval arba, but if it's 4, yesh mishim zuges, then it will have zuges. Abaya v'rava damit abaya v'yishmerecha l'tev mitzarf l'olei mitzaref. Yivrecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. The third word will only combine to make an odd number, but not to make an even number. So there's no problem of zugus by 4. The only problem of zugus is by 2. And once you get 3, you're all set. So here the Rashbam asks, so why do we have to go through this discussion about the 4 cups? According to Abaya and Rava was one of the ones that gave me the answer. I don't have a problem. It's once you reach 4, you're past v'yishmerecha. There's no problem. What does he say? He divides it up. He says you don't have a problem of mazikin, but you still have a problem of witchcraft. So there's two different problems that we're dealing with. Over here, we're saying that there's no problem of demons, but if could be a problem of witchcraft. So the Gemara before was asking, so why did we institute something that could be a problem of witchcraft? In other words, the witches can have extra power if there was an even number of cups that were drunk. So he's saying that there's no problem once it's more than 3, once it's more than 2. There's no problem regarding the mazikin, but there still could be a problem of witchcraft. Notice this Gemara is leaving out the other problem of the witches, the magic. Well, the Rava letame. The Rava follows his reasoning. The Rava afkinu l'rabanan ba'arba kaises. Rava would sometimes, the rabbis would come visit him. He would give them 4 cups to drink, and it wasn't a problem. This is really something. Even though Rava bar Levi actually got damaged, he says it didn't concern Rava. The Amar, he said, that's because he would ask questions and embarrass me in the middle of the shir. So Rava says it was not because of the cups; it was his own doing. The cups are fine. Is that a Gemara somewhere that he would ask those questions, or do we only know that from here? Okay. Amar Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef says, Amar li Yosef Shida. Rabbi Yosef says that Yosef Shida told me. Now, Yosef Shida is either a demon or he's an expert in demon something, and they called him Yosef Shida. He's probably a demon, and I guess he would talk to Rabbi Yosef. Yosef. It's interesting. Amali Yosef Shida said, Ashmedai Malka de Shida. Ashmedai, that you may be familiar with from stories with Shlomo Melech. So he's the king of the demons. He's in charge of all of the even numbers, all of the pairs. Umalka Laikri Mazik. And a king is not called someone that causes damage. So in other words, zugas are not so common. The issue is not a real issue. Some said it the other way. Adarab, on the contrary, Malka Ratchanahu. He's an angry king. Well, he does whatever he wants. The king can walk through any field and no one can stop him and say, no, it's trespassing. That means that Ashmedai can do whatever he wants. And you have to be very careful with zugas, with even numbers. Amar Rav Papa says, Zamali Yosef Shida. Apparently he also had conversations with him. He says, betray Katlinan. 2 people. Sorry, not 2 people. 2 cups. They could then the person could get killed. Very dangerous. But with 4, 4 cups, I guess it gets lessened. They don't get killed. However, Baba Maskinan, but they still could be injured. Betray, when it's 2 cups, ben b'shegig ben b'mezid. Then whether he drank it b'shegig or b'mezid, whether it was intentional or unintentional, so it's a problem. But arba b'mezid and b'shegig, if it was a mistake, it's not as bad. V'yishtali v'ikri v'nafik maitakante. If he forgot and he went outside, it happened, he went outside, what should he do? So, linkait zakva the yamine biyada the smale, zakva the smale biyada the yamine. He has to take the thumb of his right hand and put it in his left hand, and take the thumb of his left hand and put it in his right hand. And v'nei mahachi, and he should say the following: Atun va'ana hatlasa. With you and me, we have 3. I guess he's speaking to the demons. And I guess the thumbs together is going to be like as if it's a third person, like creating a new person. Vishmiele damar, if he hears the voice that's saying, Atun manar, but no, with you and me it's 4. The demons like counter claiming to his. He said that it's an odd number, so the demon says no, it's an even number. Neimalei Atun manar chamishi should say back, no, with you and me it's 5. If he hears the demon say, no, with you and me it's 6, he should say, with you and me it's 7. There was one case, that this kept going up until 101. Kept saying, no, with you and me it's more, 27, 28, 29. They got 99, 100. Said 101, Pakashida, and the demon burst. All right. Yeah.
It's interesting, like in Brazil, they make meals for like the Avodah Zarah, right? And it's like in pairs. Like they make a meal for themselves and one for the other person.
Uh-huh. There was this fellow in California. He used to come to the yeshiva, lived in Long Beach. He would come to the yeshiva. Dr. Sarelnik. I don't know if anyone knows him. Dr. Sarelnik. He's a very interesting person. I think he was Nifner, but special fellow. But he told me once that there's a certain lachash incantation that the Gemara says and the Marsha explains that was the first message that was sent by Alexander Graham Bell over the whatever it was. What's Moses' thing? It wasn't the phone. It was the first telegram or something. So that was his first. He said, if you look at this lachash, what's that? So anyway, there was a saying. He knew it. I forget this, whatever it was. But anyway, that was the lachash that the Gemara had. Anyway, I don't know if it was this Gemara or anything. Okay. So, Amar Ameimar. Ameimar says, Amarli Rishtinei the Nashim Kashpaniais. Kishpaniais. Kishifmakers. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Kashpaniais. Okay, Rishtinai means that she's in charge. The Ameimar says, no, that can't be. Oh, really? No, so this is something else. He had something like some Latin thing. No, what they told me was there was some like phrase in Latin or something. Okay. So Rishtinai the Nashim Kasfania said to Ameimar, Haiman the Pagalu Benashim Kashpanias, this fellow, if any person meets up with women that do witchcraft, name hachi, they should say the following: Chari chamimi b'dikula bazia lepumaychu nashi decharsheya. Hot excrement in torn baskets on your faces of you women, witchcraft women. Karach karachaichi, your hair should fall out. Parach parachaichi, the crumbs should blow away. I guess they would use crumbs to do magic or something. Ibder tablunaichi, your spices should scatter. Parcha zika lumarika chadata denaktisu, the wind should carry away the new spice that you're holding. Okay, I guess that's going to help these women, for the witches. Nashim kashbanias, and I guess women that do witchcraft. Until now, I was being protected from the heaven and from you. I was given grace by heaven and from you, and I didn't come here. And now that I came here, I see that my compassion has cooled off, that my protection has cooled off because I wasn't careful. Okay, it doesn't sound like the way it's ending that that's what he should be saying. I would assume that he would say that I'm still in control, but here he's saying like I've been weakened. In the West, they weren't concerned about zugis, about even numbers. In Eretz Yisrael, apparently this was something that was in Bava. Okay. Rav Dimi min Nardai kaped afilo arashuma dechavisa. Rav Dimi from Nardai, he was careful, even when they would mark on the barrel how much its contents, the volume of what this contains, he would make sure it wasn't an even number. There was a story, and the barrel burst. It was in the freezer. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's funny that was the term. Karchani, I cooled off. I got the cold. Okay, Klala the Milsa, called the Kapid. The rule is that anyone that's particular about this, then Kapti Ba'adei, then they're particular with him. Or the Loi Kapid, but if he's not particular, Loi Kapid Ba'adei, then they're not particular with him. Now, yeah. The only thing is that the Rashbam is careful to tell us that it doesn't mean that it mamish is nothing if you don't care about it. You still should be cautious. Even someone that's not kapid, it's not particular about this, then you still should be cautious. And he proves it. He says, because why does the Gemara tell us all about the zugais? It should just say, don't be particular about it and you're fine. The fact that it's going through all of this is that it still exists, even if you're not particular about it. It's not as harmful. You still should be careful. It's more than the Rashbam. It's the Gemara itself that says it. The Rashbam is just explaining the Gemara. You still have to be careful. Kiyos Rav Dimi, when Rav Dimi came Amar, he said, "Shtei beitzim, shtei egoizim, shtei kishum, v'davaracha alach l'meishim misinai." He says there are certain things that the zugais over there are much more potent. 2 eggs, 2 walnuts, 2 cucumbers, and 1 more item. That's alach l'meishim misinai. Mistafkalu l'Rabbanan ma'inu davaracha, but the sages didn't know what was that other item. So therefore, because Rabbanan makula zugim mishum davaracha. So therefore, they said that everything is, you have to be careful with the even number because we don't know what that item is. Right? And this that we said that when there's 10 or there's 8 or there's 6 or there's 4, there's no problem. That's only the way the Rashbam explained it before. That's only when to stop a concern There's no concern about the demons, avalinian kshafim, but it's regarding women that are doing witchcraft. Afilu tuva nami chashin, if it's over 10, it's a problem. Kiadu gavra the garshal of the bisu. We have a story. There was a fellow who divorced his wife. Azal insabel lechenva. The woman went and she married a storekeeper. Sounds over here more like a bartender. Kol yaima, every day, havi azal v'shasi chamra. The husband would frequent the bar that was his ex-wife's new husband. So she would do witchcraft on him. And it never helped. She kept trying to harm him with witchcraft. Her ex, right? What did they used to put in? The women used to put in the poison, yeah, hemlock or something. When they would start testing the bodies. Not cyanide. Cyanide. Right. Okay. It didn't help. So Mishum Dahavi Mistar Benafshe Bezugi was very careful with even numbers. Yom Echad, one day, Ishti Tuva. He drank a lot. He didn't even know what cup he was up to. So Ad Shitzar Habitzel Mistar Benafshe. Until 16, he could follow how many he was up to. However, he couldn't follow how many he had drank. So he ended up leaving on an even number. When he was going, Gaspi Utaya, he met up with this Arab merchant. Utaya is like this Arab merchant. There's a dead man that's walking. So Azal Chavke Ladikli went and he hugged the tree. And Tzavach Diklo Pakahu. This is not so clear what that means. Tzavach Diklo Pakahu possibly means that the tree cried out and he burst. The guy died. Could mean also that the tree just dried up and the bark came off. And it's not clear that he died. It could mean that Tzavach Dikla, there's different interpretations here. Could mean that just the tree died. He ended up putting the witchcraft onto the tree. He rubbed it off on the tree, and then he was saved. Okay, Amar Rav Avira says, if you have another course, that's not considered. If you have two courses, that's not considered zugas. And the same is with loaves of bread. You bring another loaf of bread, that's not a problem. With the exception of wine, I guess. Anything that was a product, a human product. So over there's no problem of zugas. It's only something that was made by heaven. Now, I guess wine is a human product, but nevertheless, I guess the grape is considered made by heaven. If it's completed by heaven, the mili mini de mechal, and it has to do with food items, cheshinan. That's a concern. Chanus, two interpretations here what this means. One pshat is if you drink a cup in one store and then you go to another store, I guess one cup in this bar, one cup in the next bar. That's not a problem of zugas. Another pshat is that what I say? Whenever you're in a store, yeah. When you're in a bar, it doesn't count. I guess I don't know if it's because it's a bar or because it's not a bar. You're drinking in a store. Chanus just means a store, but maybe like a restaurant type stuff. So over there, there's not zugas. There's no problem of drinking pairs. That's two pshat. One is anytime you're in a store, or one is, and the other pshat is if you go from one store to another, it's not considered an even number. Nimlach, if he changes his mind, he says, I'm not having any more, and then he has another one. Mishum zugas. That's not a problem because you already stopped the first one and now you had another one. Oirach, a guest, you can't count the guest's cups of wine as zugais because every time you poured him wine, he didn't know he was going to get another one. So each one was just one, right? There's this concept of, he relies on he doesn't have to make a new bracha, but he still doesn't know. It's just that he's dependent on the host. A woman's drinking is not considered set enough, established that it's considered one, two. It's nothing. Each one is a individual drink. If it's an important woman, that's a different story. Then it combines to be an even number. Amar Rav Chinna Breder Rav Yeshua. Rav Chinna says the name of Rav Yeshua. Asparagus. I wish it was asparagus. It's cabbage. Cabbage. It's wine. It's cabbage that's soaked in wine. Mitzdaref l'tayva ve'mitzdaref l'ra. It combines only for the good, but not for the bad. Like we said before, that those drinks, there were certain things we said that you don't count that number to make an even number. You only count it to make an odd number. So that's the same with the asparagus. It's some sort of medicine. Apparently, it was very good. They would drink it every morning before they ate. They didn't say it tastes good. It's very good. It means it's beneficial. Okay. Amar Ravina Mishmei de Rava. Ravina says the name of Rava, Zugi l'chumra va'amrila Zugi l'kula. This is an interesting question. Let's say you don't know if you had an even number. Should you have one more just in case, or should you stop? So we have two versions of this. Ravina said in the name of Rava, Zugi l'chumra. Whenever you don't know, drink an extra cup. Right? Just to be sure. Drink an extra. The odds don't change. But just to be sure, drink another cup. And some say Zugi Lakula. Some say, no, don't drink another cup. Stop right there. Now, the benefit of that would be that when you don't drink another cup, it shows that you're not makbid anyway. It's fine. I'm not going to do anything because of Zugais. That means I'm not particular about it. So that's the explanation why you should stop. Amar Rav Yosef, trade the chamer b'chad the leimitzdaref. Rav Yosef says 2 cups of wine and 1 cup of beer, that doesn't combine. That's a problem. You had 2 cups of wine, the beer doesn't combine with the wine. It's not a good idea. but it doesn't help. It doesn't help the zugais out. Trade the shechra b'chad the chamra, 2 cups of beer and 1 cup of wine. Mitzdaref. The wine will then combine to the beer that you have an odd number, which is good. The rule is like this. Here's the way to remember. Here's the rule. This is a Mishnah that was talking about if you have pieces of cloth, at a certain size, each type of cloth could become tamei. So if it was a piece of leather, it was a certain size. If it was different materials, had different sizes. Let's say I have a cloth that's not a full shear to become tamei, but I sew onto it one of the other cloths to make a shear. Now, you made a shear of what? Of which cloth? So if I added on to it a cloth that was more strict than it, that means that a smaller shear would make it tamei, then it's mitzdaref. And if I added on a cloth that needs a larger shear, so then it's not mitzdaref. It doesn't combine. It didn't do anything to this. So what are we saying? We're saying that if you add wine to the beer afterwards, then it will combine. I guess that's what it's saying. 2 cups of beer and then 1 cup of wine combines because it's more important. The wine is more important. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rav. Really? Rav Nachman says the name of Rav. It's not so common. Trei kamitaka, v'chadataka, mitzdarfi. 2 cups before the meal and 1 during the meal will combine. So you have 3. Chad mikami taka, treya taka lemit started. However, one before the meal and two during the meal doesn't combine to be an odd number. Maskeflora mashashat and anna takuni taka kabin and the tuni gavra lebin and gavra komiskum vikai. You're not. It doesn't have to do with the meal. It has to do with the person. The person had 3 cups. What's the difference if one was before the meal? It's not the concern about a meal having zugais. It's a problem of the person having zugais. And he had 3 cups. Elam Rabbi Shashia, or maybe you take that out. The Kuli Alma, everyone holds Treya Taka Vachad Labasar Taka Lemit Starti. 2 during the meal and 1 after the meal doesn't help. Like the story of Rabbi Bar Nachmani. This is a whole Gemara in Bab Metzia about how Rabbi Bar Nachmani passed away. But it had to do with him being chased. They informed the government that people were avoiding the head tax because everyone was going to the shiur of Rabbi Bar Nachmani and they weren't at home. And when the tax collector would come, they didn't have to. Anyway, the government wanted to get him. They sent someone to go catch him. So he ran away. He ran from this place to that place. Every time he would always like a step ahead. But he met up with him at a restaurant, and they served this fellow that was out to get him. They served him zugais, and he was choking and dying. And they said, "What should we do? What should we do?" Anyway, Rabbi Bar Nachmani told him what to do. They said, "Bring the meal back and give him another cup." So, and it saved him. And then that's how he got caught. They said, "You must be Rabbi Bar Nachmani if you were able to, if you knew that." So anyway, he went outside. The Gemara says that at that time in heaven, they had a shaila about something about a Mitzvah, I think, Tzaras. And they asked him, and he said, Tahar. And he passed away then, and he said, that you were tar and you still left Betara. That was the story of it. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yehuda. So over there you see that the basar taka, if the meal is finished, then it doesn't help to drink another cup. You have to bring the meal back to make it into an even number. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel Kol hamazug mitzdaref. All types of mixed drinks, all combined. Chutz min hamayim, except for mixed water. Now, what's mixed water? It's going to be hot and cold water. The Rabbi Yochanan Rafil Mayim. Rabbi Yochanan says no. Water is also a mixed. Is also combines. So Amar Rav Papa says Layamar Nela Chamimi Lagav Kariri. That's only if you mixed hot water into cold water. V'kariri Lagav Chamimi, or cold water into hot water. Then it's a mixed drink. Chamimi Lagav Chamimi, Kariri Lagav Kariri like. But if you just mix hot water into hot water and cold water into cold water, it's not considered a mixed drink, and it doesn't combine with everything else. Okay, let's leave it to me here.